it that he just texted you. Oh, you've not got it yet?
Is it in her email?
I've sent it to her on email and text.
Yeah, because he sent it to you email and text. So, okay, she hung up.
In her email. I've sent it to her on. There's Mr. Kazook.
Hello, Mr. Kazook.
And we are live. We are live on YouTube.
Are we ready to start?
Thank you for making this work, Mr. Kazook. I know you've been working in the hay.
I got everything done last night, hail bales, so I'm in good shape.
Oh, well, good. Mr. Cunningham's done it there on Foley Road. He's been working in his.
Miss Wickers, Joy's having a little trouble, so we'll give her another minute or two or something.
Okay.
I'm trying to correspond with her here through text.
She's on, Carol.
She is. Okay, perfect.
I'm letting her in now.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. There she is.
There she is.
Good.
Good deal. We still got 2 minutes.
All right.
Means we'll get done quicker.
Well, it's not a long meeting anyway, but we just didn't want to order this and move forward without you all. And Ms. Wicker, after you call the meeting to order, I will read that statement again because that way that they want it recorded.
All right.
We lose Joy, Mr. Ford.
We did.
Her audio's there, not her video.
Okay.
We're still okay though if she can't.
Yeah, those we can hear you.
There it is.
And at noon, I'll also record this to the Zoom cloud. Oh, wow. I've sent you all that email. I don't know if you saw it, that we got the sheriff's office got that COPS grant. So that's 2 resource officers.
Yes.
Additional resource officers for our schools. So,
That was on the radio this morning.
yeah.
Okay, time.
That's fantastic.
I got it. And I'm going to hit the record button and we are said live on YouTube.
Okay. Call the meeting to order.
Okay, and Ms. Wicker, I'm going to read the statement of why we're meeting via Zoom. At this time, and given the extraordinary circumstances public agencies are confronting, it is not feasible under KRS 61.840 to precisely identify a primary physical location for a video teleconference at which the public may attend and view a public meeting conducted through video teleconference under the Open Meetings Act. Instead, because of the public health necessity of imposing social distancing to help stop the spread of COVID-19, a public agency should precisely identify a website, television station, or other technological means by which the public may view a meeting conducted under this act until the conclusion of the state of emergency. This meeting can be viewed live at www.youtube.com/user/forward/Mick1. That was all sent to the media. And also, we encourage anybody listening, if they have questions during the public comment time, they can do it on chat with YouTube, or they're welcome to call the Board of Education office at 270-343-3191, and we'll answer those questions during, or take that input during public comment time.
Okay. Roll call.
This action is taken by calling each board member's name with the board member answering present. Mr. Murray.
Present.
Ms. Wilson.
Present.
Mrs. Hickenbotham.
Present.
Mr. Kazook.
Present.
And Ms. Wicker.
Present.
Ms. Wicker, everybody's present.
All right. May the 18th, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
The minutes from the May 18th, 2020 regular meeting just seems like it was yesterday. The Russell County Board of Education are attached for your review. If there are no changes or amendments, I recommend the approval of the May 18th, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of Regular meeting of May 18th.
I'll second it.
Vote.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham,
Yes.
Mr. Kazook,
Yes.
and Ms. Wicker.
Yes.
Who did the second on that? I'm sorry.
Mr. Kazook.
Okay, thank you.
The adoption of the agenda.
So the meeting agenda is provided for your review. This is a special call meeting, so we cannot address anything that's not on the agenda. And I don't have anything to strike, to take away from the agenda. So I recommend the agenda be approved as presented.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Vote.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham,
Yes.
Mr. Kazook,
Yes.
and Ms. Wicker.
Yes. Okay, amendment to Russell County Schools Comprehensive District Improvement Plan.
Okay.
Yep.
We have been working ever since thinking about all this COVID-19 and how we can deliver instruction the most effectively if we were to be in that situation again. Plus, our students in our classrooms are certainly in need of technology. So put those two things together. We are receiving our Russell County Schools under the CARES Act. There's two different parts of that. The first part being what's referred to as the GEARS, and then the second part of the CARES Act. But the district will receive approximately $1.2 million. The first allocation of that is very restricted, and that is designed primarily for remote learning and increasing that capability for remote learning, and or to help offset costs with food service related to the pandemic and us being on extended NTI and things like that. So expenses that we have incurred related to that, the additional food costs, if we were need to reimburse food service, prepackaged food was much more expensive than having the USDA commodities and cooking, things like that. So part of that, our plan and what we want to utilize and what we want to amend here with your all's approval is our comprehensive district improvement plan. So on that plan, this calls for all of our students in grades K through 12 to be provided with a Google Chromebook. Now, that is essentially a laptop. It is the operating system of Google, and all of our teachers have had training on Google Classrooms now. Mr. Chris Gotti, I mentioned that at the last school board meeting, has done an excellent job with that training. What this will provide and what we envision is certainly teachers will have access, and the students in the classrooms, to Google, the Chromebooks, those small laptops, if you will. And we would certainly have that to be done during the course of instruction in classroom. But if they're forecasting a week of snow, or we're out for traditional flu, or Lord forbid, if we're out an extended period of time, which we all know that is certainly what we're all planning for this school year, if it were to ramp back up and COVID-19 surges again, all of our students in grades K through, or 2 through 12 right now is what our plan is, would have a Google Chromebook. Now, we're very cognizant that not all of our families have internet access. I do have a meeting tomorrow with a couple of representatives from Duval County, and we're going to talk about that and see what options we can come up with, at least maybe for the larger mobile home parks, maybe the larger apartment complexes and things like that. But also, it's our understanding there's some options to where students may have the assignment and they can complete it on their Chromebook, and then when they're back at school, or they have Wi-Fi access, and then it uploads and feeds that. But you can imagine the flexibility and the additional instruction that this could offer to our students and our teachers, if or to the extent possible, our students having a Chromebook and having a platform. Will there be things involved on making that work? Absolutely. Are we the first district doing that? By no means. We're behind that regarding that. Mr. Bell is working with other school districts now on getting their policies and procedures and how they handle that, all that. But our plan for this, using this money, it'd be approximately $763,000, $755 for Chromebooks, and that would include one for each teacher and some extra for every school. We're looking at $260, and then for each Chromebook, $35 for a case. So, you know, if you have a second and third grader, we would obviously want that to have that a case on that. But you know, a lot of our students don't have laptops. Our families can afford laptops. You know, especially you look at a family that might have 2, 3, 4 kids. Now, that would help them in their schoolwork. This is not theirs. So as our seniors graduate, that would be turned back in, and obviously we would recycle those and clean them up, and then it would be pushed back out, the next time. They do come with a 3-year warranty for that cost that we would be incurred. But this is, like I said, something that our district has been in need of, this one-to-one initiative for quite some time, and we're behind a lot of school districts on doing this, and our teachers are ready for this, especially with the training that they've had. Regarding K through 1, we will probably come to you all at the later June school board meeting. Laptop or not laptops, I'm sorry, iPads are a little bit friendlier for younger students, K and 1, and we're probably looking at them, and we can get them for about the same price as what we can get the Google Chromebooks. Mr. Bell and Miss Baird and Miss Rexroth are working on that as to what that would look like for the K and 1 students. We don't want to leave out any grades, but we also want to be good stewards of the money and get the most bang for our buck. So our CDIP, we could have purchased these and went on with this, because there's not necessarily a requirement on the boards to approve that, but this is a large expenditure, and I didn't feel comfortable of us doing that without some mechanism. So that's why we came up with the idea of including it in our comprehensive district improvement plan, which is an ideal place. As we've always said, the improvement plan is a living, breathing document. This is our current plan, and this would be an amendment to that. And so I can only imagine, I've already shared this with some families about, what we would be providing for their students. And so it's I hope you agree with me, and I'll answer any questions, that it's a great instructional tool, and that's what our intent is for it to be, a great instructional tool for our students and the families. During regular classroom instruction, absolutely, but also if students have to be back at home for a period of time. Having said that, obviously we need to fine tune our skills, and it's referred to as blended learning, the use of really true integration of the laptops and technology in with traditional learning. And that's some other professional development that we want to provide teachers with this summer, because we want to maximize that, again, in the classroom, and also if we're at distance learning. But we're trying to get away as a district of using NTI, because we look at NTI as being just that short amount of time, and maybe not as strong in the instructional side, and we want to start using that distance learning. And that might be a snow day, that might be a traditional flu, or that might be the extended period of time with COVID-19. So we're really excited about this. That will leave us, the GEARS money, like I said, is really, really restrictive. The other money, not so much. And so we want to be good stewards of that money and be purposeful with it, and things that our students and our families can make good use with it, and still have money. A state budget cut is coming. It's just when. We can guarantee that. If I was a betting man, I bet every one of you all that we will be getting a budget cut. So some of this money can still be set there for a rainy day as well. And we don't have to spend that right now. That can sit there if we need, use it for other things. Like I've told you all, I'm not as concerned about the 2021 school year as I am about the 21-22 school year. And KDE, or not KDE, but the legislature will convene in January for that second budget. So let me hush for a minute, and you all ask any questions or any discussion that I'm anxious to hear what you all think about this, or concerns you all may have with it. And there'll be, there'll be bumps in the road. We understand that, but,
I think it's awesome.
I do
Mine-
too.
Now, will the Chromebooks they will be left at school, is that correct?
they
Until-
will be at school, but we want to, so they will probably for the most part, especially for elementary, and we've not finalized these plans, but for the elementary, we would expect they would be there unless that time is coming to where
Yeah.
we
Right.
need to switch to that distance learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
With our middle school and high school students though, I could see them taking them home more, Miss Joy, and working on them and having assignments because I've used Mr. Gossage a lot, but he said he wants a period of time, every week that teachers are using that digital platform to deliver their lesson. So when the time comes that they can easily transition over. And so if we're not using them integrated in the classroom and everybody really familiar with it, it's going to make that distance learning a little bit more difficult.
Well, that's what I was wondering too, if they were going to use them there so they can get used to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do we have any idea about how many do not have internet access to it?
No, we have done those surveys in the past, Ms. Wicker, and this is what we really came up with. The fact that when a kid says, I've got internet at home, a lot of times they're referencing they have a smartphone and they have a data plan. They don't necessarily have
Internet.
internet
Right.
per se. Their house, they couldn't just walk into it and get it on with the laptop. We've got really good numbers that says they have internet capability to some extent. But our data is really skewed because if you get into the details, it's not necessarily that they have a router sitting there and they have internet. And so that's what concerns us more with the larger mobile home parks or some of the manors and things like that, the housing, the low income that we want. What can we provide them to increase that hotspot capability with those students and those? So that's what precipitated the meeting with representatives from Dual County that we're having tomorrow. And I'm anxious to see what kind of plans and options we have with that.
Now, what is the exact cost for one with the case?
$260. There's a little bit of variability with that because of Intel processors or AMD processors, and I won't get into the weeds of all of that, but it's the chip, if you will, and Intel is the desired chip as far as most well known, and I won't say necessarily that they're better, but Intel's Intel. That's probably a familiar name with all of you all. There's also a shipping and a cost, and everybody's wanting these things. For instance, Mr. Bell came to me today and said, we can get those ones with the AMD chip probably this summer, but now they went up $25 more.
Oh, really?
So 25 times 3,000, just a rough number, that's automatically $75,000. I'm just not comfortable with that. I would rather wait and we'll get them a little bit later this fall or something. So the estimate is $260.80 per Chromebook, and $35 approximately for a case
Okay.
to do that. So you're looking at about $300 per device. Yeah. A lot of school districts have had a lot of good success with Google Chromebooks. Casey County has a lot of them. We've got a lot of them in the district. We have several, and Mr. Bell's worked on those for a few years now. The middle school has a lot, and it's not something. End of year testing can be done on the Chromebooks. All of our map testing, all those things can be done on the Chromebooks, and so it's something that's very, very widespread, and it's on the state price contract. This isn't something that we're just out negotiating per se. These different vendors are on the state approved price contracts.
So we have enough money through this to buy all these?
Absolutely.
You got more left.
Yeah, and got more left. And this is the type of thing that's encouraged to prepare for our students
Right.
to do that. It's not encouraged to hire another position and then worry about how you're going to pay for it when that money runs out.
Right.
Right.
Frankfurt, if you all watched that or read the news headlines that they had the interim briefing, and part of that discussion was students not having access to technology at home. And actually, I told Mr. Hoover this morning what we were doing, and I texted Central Wise yesterday what we had planned on doing, what was going to present to the board, and because that was addressing part of their concerns that they were talking about at the state level. But yes, to answer your question, we have money to buy all this and more. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's great.
Thank goodness for public money.
Yeah.
Public
We
schools.
would not be having the same conversation if it were our general fund dollars.
Well, I
Like said,
figured,
yeah, part of this mandate, if you will, with GEARS. Now, this will use all of what's referred to as the GEARS funding, and then the rest of it will go on to the other pot of CARES money. How we get our allocations is through our the Title I formula, and so based upon that poverty data is how they did the allocations for us. Let me.
well, I make a motion that we approve the amended comprehensive district improvement plan as presented.
And I second. A dozen times.
I was trying to, let me, Ms. Wicker, if you don't care, give me just a minute, and I've got those exact dates of, not exact dates, sure. Exact, amounts.
I thought that's what you was talking about.
I'm glad you all read my mind. I can't read it myself most of the time. Okay, I wanna tell you all the exact amounts that we're getting. Okay, for the gear, amount is $182,205. For the ESSER, and that both of these are under the CARES Act, under the from the federal, is $1,062,165. So those both amounts together is why I told you, it's approximately $1.2 million.
Gosh.
And again, that comes through our Title I funding formula of how that money is allocated is how we got those dollar amounts.
Do we put this through the budget and everything?
I'm sorry.
Do we put this through the budget?
It takes care of it in the CDIP.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second vote.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
you cut out.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Okay. Ms. Wilson,
Absolutely.
Ms. Higginbotham,
Positively.
Mr. Kazook,
Yes.
and Ms. Wicker.
Yes.
I had a parent that their child's going to be a senior, and they said, I'm looking at getting them a laptop and one that he can take on to college. And I said, well, why don't you wait one more year? It'll be a year newer when he can take it to college, because we're going to provide him with the Chromebook for this year. And she's like, are you serious? And I said, yeah. And I said, then he'll have a laptop that's a year newer. You can buy it next year for him to go off to college. So I think our families are really, really going to be pleased. But I cannot stress enough, there will be there'll be bumps in the road, because things will happen to them. The deployment of Mr. Bell and his team will be time consuming. Every device has to be touched. They're not going to come from the factory ready. They have to be put on for us and the students and things like that. There'll be updates. Miss Carol can think back of when she helped with the ACES tablets and worked on the 10 at a time doing the updates. If you bought a laptop today and plugged it in, it's going to have an update. That's just, they're just out of date. So there'll be deployment issues, but we'll just work through all that and just be really thankful at the end result of what we're going to be able to provide for our students and our faculty and staff. Let me just real quick. Of course, we've had the superintendent webcast yesterday. Had another meeting. Had a GREC co-op meeting today, and I've got a Kentucky Association of School Administrators meeting tomorrow. Some things that the Department of Public Health have already loosened up on for example, is bus transportation. So initially, they told us that we could have one student per row. So, you know, we couldn't get kids to school like that. So now they've backed off all of that. They realize that they won't be on the bus as long as they will be in the school. It's still that we're expected everybody's going to have masks on, but I'm very thankful that now they said, you know, go ahead and plan your transportation as normal. One thing that we've still got to work through, and I'm not opposed to the idea. I'm concerned about the logistics and the safety of it. Is as of right now, the Department of Public Health is telling us to take every child's temperature when they get on the school bus.
Oh my gosh.
So let's just say, you know, down there, you know, thinking about in your neck of the woods, Mr. Murray, and some of those stops, you know, you'd be really quick with one kid, but some that are larger mobile home parks or a family that has 4 or 5 kids, and there's our school bus stopped there, and they're taking. Now, granted, the thermometers will be no touch, but just the time involved with that on a bus sitting on the road stopped and what that's going to look like. In addition to that, some of our families work, obviously, and they're already gone to work by the time that school bus gets there. And maybe the older siblings, that middle school or high school age, make sure that the younger siblings get on the bus. You all know that. I'm really concerned about then what happens if Michael gets on that bus and his temperature is elevated.
Right.
Nobody's back at home. So they've talked about isolating them on one seat on the bus and all that. Granted, probably every day of the school year, we have students that get on buses that have temperatures.
Right.
Just by default, strep throat, ear infections, you know, traditional flu. It's going to be a heightened sense of awareness because we know COVID. You know, we've got a student, you know, you all heard the news. We've got a young student right now, the asymptomatic, that has tested positive for COVID-19. So those are going to be things that we'll have to work through. It's ever evolving. The Department of Public Health and the guidance that we're getting, you know, it's probably a given that kids are going to be eating in the cafeteria, but we don't want to feed them a box lunch every day. You all know what the box lunch looks like when we're at conferences versus when we get to sit down and have that. I see Mr. Murray start to smile versus when we get to sit down and have those good dinners. We can't serve our kids a box lunch every day. And Mr. Emerson has a really good plan of maybe not every day, but kids going through and social distancing, and they don't serve themselves, but they get a hot meal, a limited number of students, and they take it back to their classroom. And as we was talking through these things yesterday, I was texting Commissioner Brown saying, you know, we've got a plan. We think we can make this work. And he agrees. He said, we're going to keep pushing that issue that we need to be able to serve kids some hot meals. And I say all that because you're going to see school districts, we talked about this at GREC right now, you're going to see school districts that have out on their social media channels, this is our return to school plan. We're not doing that right now because the moment we do that, it's going to be changing tomorrow.
Right.
I'm just telling parents, be patient with us. These are some non-negotiables that I am going to get out sooner than later. The fact of temperature checks and everybody's going to wear a mask and things like that. But the day-to-day operation and a grand reopening plan, we don't have time right now to do that and redo it and redo it and redo it because I fully expect that to be fluid. So I'm just asking people to be patient. And when you all will see that and your constituents will ask you that, you know, so-and-so county, well, they've already got theirs out. Yep, they do. And that's great. And we'll probably review that plan. But I can guarantee you, and I'm not knocking them for doing that. That's fine. But the plans are too fluid to be doing all that. So I just want to throw that out there with you because I know you all will get questions about that.
And there's still 2 months yet to go.
There is. Another thing that we will talk about is calendar stuff at the June board meeting. But okay, well, I appreciate y'all's participation in this and getting that ironed out, and we will take it from here. So I'm very thankful for the money, and I know you all are as well.
Yeah.
We are, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Any public comments?
Yeah, Miss Carol, have you had anybody call in?
Nope, nobody's called.
Okay, I'm looking here on YouTube, and I don't.
Email intake. Yeah, he sent it to me email.
I don't.
I'll double check with Janet to make for sure.
Okay, you check before we, move forward. I don't wanna. You all can't hear, but I can hear Carol from it. I don't wanna. There's nothing on the chat as well, either on the YouTube.
Oh, we're all good. Nobody's called.
Okay, Ms. Wicker?
All right. We take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, vote.
Well,
We need a second.
Everybody.
yeah, we need to second it.
I'll second it.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham,
Yes.
Mr. Kazook,
Yes.
and Ms. Wicker.
Yes.
About the time we're gonna go back to, in-person meetings, we're all gonna have Zoom mastered.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who we are.
Nerve wracking, hey.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.